good there.
So they all look pretty healthy.
And Chris, before you do another move, do you mind if we just let this swing out for a bit?
Yep.
Full wide, please.
Very nice.
I'm starting to see shapes where there aren't any. Sort of seeing things in the negative spaces in between rocks. And
That's poetic. Your shapes in negative spaces or something like this. That's a nice thought.
That looks like a big dead sponge. Can we have a zoom on that?
Sure. Go ahead and start your zoom there, please.
Wow. So maybe we'll have a big field up ahead when we get up a slope. Or if we go back in time 20 million years. One or the other.
Looks like a flying pig.
Yeah.
Full wide, please.
Is the flying pig a real thing? Or were you just sort of saying a thing it looked like in general?
oh no, flying pigs are real.
Yeah, you haven't seen them?
No, stop.
They make dreams come true.
We have sea pigs and sea pickles and sea cucumbers. And I don't know. It just felt like it could have been a real common name for something.
It's a symbiotic relationship between pigs and trebuchets.
I think now we're honor bound to find a new species and give it the common name, the flying pig.
There's a stalk of something, maybe bamboo, maybe another one of those dololithon colonies.
Could also be a solitary, one of the single stalk primnoids.
Yeah, we haven't seen one of those yet.
Go ahead and start your zoom there, please.
I think it looks like a bamboo.
It's got thick claws, thick polyps again.
Yeah.
Very healthy tissue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Those left porch lights do so much.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it has black nodes, right?
I'm not seeing any, so yeah, maybe more stoloniferans, but... Well...
It's a good zoom on the polyps.
There might be something node-like right here.
Yeah. So if the tissue's really thick, you can't really see the nodes, right?
Oh.
I see.
And yeah, I can see spines on the polyps here. That's a bamboo.
Oh, Rog. All right, full wide, please.
There's another dead sponge there just below the lasers.
Johnson Atoll, famous for its dead sponges. Come visit.
I think the PR needs to be worked on a bit.
Yeah, Johnson doesn't have much of a tourism board. Do you like military activity and hot sand? Johnson Atoll.
And birds.
Yeah,
Yeah, thousands of birds.
You ever get pooped on by a bird?
Do you want to?
What about a million?
Johnson Atoll.
Johnson Atoll. Now open to tourists.
Can you? What would the poster look like?
Just like
A white splat.
yeah, a blizzard. And it just says that's not snow.
It could it could be a big white splat in the shape of Johnson Atoll.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It could be that photo that I think Megan has of the like million birds sitting on the deck and then the one like looking through the porthole.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so intimidating.
I mean, that's perfect for Palmyra.
Our welcoming committee.
Have you seen the video of that, though? My PhD student was on that cruise. She videoed it, and they're just screaming at the back door, like pecking it, like open the door, open the door, open the door.
Who is your PhD student?
Amber. Yeah,
oh,
she was on your
she's
watch.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and she sent me the videos of them just like yelling at her, trying to get her to open the door. They were aggressive.
You'll have to give Amber my regards. I had a good time with her on watch.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Kylie was out there for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have to fight off any of the birds?
I did not personally. I was not outside for that, but I saw them. I saw them everywhere for days. It's gross.
Does not sound desirable at all.
No.
Subpar parks. It's beautiful underwater.
Uh-huh. There's a little sponge off to the left, but not seeing anything over here. Except for rocks I want to sample, of course.
Murphy's Law, I suppose, couldn't have predicted this.
That damn Murphy.
I wonder if we've ever, probably not, I would imagine not, but if the sextant wasn't on the porch, I wonder if we've ever sort of tried to like use the porch like an excavator.
Like a shovel.
Whatever lands on the porch is what we take back with us.
I like it.
I thought you might.
That's way better than the roadkill sample. You just slam the ROV into the rock wall, and whatever falls down on the porch, you keep.
Well, we just put a big chisel spike in the front of it, and then we keep ramming into the wall and see if we can break something off. And this is why ROVs aren't designed by geologists.
That's right.
I think I've seen an ROV sat down hard on the bottom, used to break a rock piece off, and then scooped up later.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
All right, Chris, I think we're
Yep.
good.
When we were on the
75070.
I was on the Kingman cruise in 2019. We were testing if things were crust when we picked it up, because there were some areas that were just thick, flat crust. By grabbing the rocks, picking them up, and then smacking them into other rocks and seeing if they break. Which is fun.
Some other dead sponge up there on the top center.
Yeah.
It brings up an interesting question, though. If these things either become, I don't know, encrusted or somehow just don't decompose when they die.
So these are glass sponges, and their skeletons are completely silica, so they basically just become a rock.
Yeah.
Some of them can eventually break apart into like sand grains, but up in British Columbia, there's 3 species of these that their skeletons will actually fuse when they die, and they actually form whole reefs, where new sponges then grow over the fused skeletons of the old.
It can leave a beautiful layer of opal in the future.
And we've, in the Northwest, we've sampled a big chunk of dead heterocony. We were actually sampling it because another sponge that we call the moldy cheese was growing on the dead heterocony. And you see this thing and it looks like a piece of driftwood or something, and then you pick it up and it has the weight of a rock.
Wow.
That's cool.
Here's a question in the chat. What is the largest living deep sea creature we've found on a dive? So I was thinking about this. It might be the shark, but it might have been some of the corals we've been seeing too. Like they've been pretty tall and large.
Yeah, you can get some giant bamboos sometimes.
What about the sperm whale? Is that considered a deep sea creature, or is because it was at what 1,000 meters as I was seeing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the sperm whale is probably the largest overall. I would say on this cruise, probably that 6-gill shark has been the biggest biomass animal.
There's something on that rock. I don't know what that is. Looks like maybe, I don't know.
But back to the silica skeletons of the sponges. So if they could just theoretically kind of just keep piling up and piling up and piling up as they, even as they grow and then mature and die.
Yep.
Yes. So that's off of Howe Sound and off of the British Columbia coast. I think there's 3 known reefs, and they are, I think they're like a couple 100 feet thick of just mounds of sponges that have overgrown one another. And it's 3 species. It's Africalistes, the cloud sponge, heterocony, which is also the goiter sponge, and then a species of Faria, which is a cousin of some of the sponges we're seeing here. And they form these really amazing reefs. They may have, on the 2020 Nautilus expedition in the Channel Islands, found one. It has not yet been confirmed if it's just a large aggregation of Faria or if it is, in fact, a true reef. But they found thousands and thousands and thousands of these Faria sponges seeming to overgrow one another. They're waiting to get some sub-bottom data to confirm. But yeah, that was on the 2020 expedition, so there's really lovely video footage of it if anyone wants to check it out. And I believe in 2018, the Ocean Networks Canada saw some of the sponge reef, off of British Columbia.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. I think they actually specifically went and looked at it for a while. They have cloud sponges in Hood Canal on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington.
Yes, they're not very healthy. Okay. I visited them recently, but they are regrowing, which is the good news. They're really, really delicate. So the problem with people go down there just to see the cloud sponges. They're off a very popular dive site. There's actually there's a few colonies of them around in that area, but they're so fragile that if too many people go into the area, if you bump them, they'll just fall apart. So if you go to visit cloud sponges, there's some places you can dive around British Columbia where there's lots of them too. You just have to have really good buoyancy control and make sure you kind of keep your distance.
They're also fairly deep, yeah?
Yes, the ones in Hood Canal are at about 110 feet, I want to say, 120 depending on the tide.
Deep for divers,
yes.
Not deep for ROVs, yeah.
Chris, you're going to do another DVL reset, please.
Some nice angular rocks.
So Kevin, you said these rocks were probably around 70 million?
Either 70 or 95. Probably one or the other. It's my hypothesis. Quite old. They don't look it though. I don't think they look a day over 30 MA.
I was going to say, if it's 95 million years, it was a day, right?
Here's a question related to the hydroids we saw. Do all hydroids release medusa?
I don't think most hydroids release a medusa phase. They can bud, but I don't think the medusa phase is usually one that swims up in the water column, but I will check.
Okay, I'm probably going to hang out.
They do have a medusa
here,
phase.
You can turn your heading like 45
That's
degrees if you want to look at me.
Reproductive phase. So it's a gamete-producing male or female medusa that swims up in the water column.
Man, Kevin, I'm sorry we don't have a manipulator to use right now. It's just like
Yep.
rocks and rocks and rocks. Rocks for days.
Yep.
Sample rock size. I mean, I think even one said, hey, Kevin, I'm right here on it.
Just taunting me. That's what I get for my roadkill suggestions and my...
But it's a good thing that we got, excuse me, that we got 2 rock samples while we could.
Yeah, exactly.
So I gotta think of something positive there, or else Kevin's gonna go crazy back there.
Can we get a zoom on that stalk to the right?
Yeah, sure. Oh, which one would you like? Sorry.
I was thinking the small one, but maybe, well, Meredith, your call.
Why don't we look at both? We can look at the small one first and then move over and look at the bamboo.
Go ahead and push that in there, please.
It looks like a stalk covered in, a dead stalk covered in hydrozoans. And what's that in the top right?
That's a solitary hydroid.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Thought you meant this, and then this guy,
And
right?
then, yeah, here's this nice big single stalk bamboo coral.
Go ahead and do a partial zoom. Use my jogging.
You can see the node on that one.
Just keeps going.
Yeah. Some of the polyps are retracted, some aren't.
Very cool. Pull away, please.
Thank you, thank you. Is that a sea pen in the distance?
Oh, yeah.
It might be, yeah. That looks like the, maybe like the protoptylem they sampled last week.
Go ahead and start a zoom there, please.
Very cool. Got a nice pink polyps on a red stalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a protoptylem.
Pull away, please.
Spelled with all the extra P's and T's.
Just for Kylie.
Yep.
All right. Get caught up again.
There's another Meroteris, Untitled and sponge.
Yep, it's interesting that that's really the only chrysogorgid we've seen so far on this dive.
Yeah. It must like low current.
Although we aren't seeing it in the big aggregations that we saw on a previous dive.
Yeah, they seem to like to aggregate under basalt.
Yeah,
kinda
hanging off
overhangs.
ledges.
Yeah. Here's a beautiful shrimp coming through the screen.
Chanel, just for you.
Get it.
Go ahead and push out into it, please.
Go in the back strip.
Super fluffy.
Pull wide, please. We should amend our name to also have the word shrimp in it.
The shrimp pickles.
Pickled shrimp. Sea pickled shrimp.
Pickled shrimp?
Sea pickled shrimp.
Sea pickles on the fuzzy feet.
Oh.
Fuzzy shrimp pickle feet. Shrimp fuzzy pickle feet.
Got more of a sponge graveyard here, it looks like, maybe. Oh, nope, just a rock.
Ridge nav, 75 meters, 070.
Oh no, there's one up above. Just not as many as I thought.
Here's a question in the chat. Does the Nautilus get to name the seamount that we are mapping and exploring? If not, what is the process of naming seamounts?
Seamounts are typically, whoever maps it for the first time or samples it can submit a name to I meant to look this up and I didn't. Some kind of, I want to say International Seabed Authority, but it's not that. But there's an authority that you can submit official names to. Nautilus doesn't do that typically, but when I publish a paper on these, I'm probably going to put forth a name. I like to try to publish a name and then put it forth. And that increases the chances it will go through. Exactly what we'll name them on, I don't know. Seamounts in this area are mostly unnamed, and the few that are named are kind of after U.S. naval captains, actually, like Pierpont, Wetmore, Johnston, Sally. Well, Sally's after the HMS Sallywad. HMS Sally. So, not sure what we'll name them after. Typically things around Hawaii, we always go to the Hawaii Cultural Authority and have them name them based on their cultural preferences. And these technically aren't in Hawaii, but they're in Polynesia, so I might go there anyway. Got some cool Hawaiian names. But maybe I'll name this seamount Fuzzy Sea Pickle. And then I'll have to say that in an actual science conference in front of all my peers.
Yeah, if you do that, can you take a video so we can all watch it?
Sure.
Yeah, and I'd like you to, fondly remember us during it.
Will do.
Yeah, credit your other fuzzy.
I like to acknowledge the
feet
naming
pickles
convention team.
We're like your fuzzy toes. You know what I mean?
We help keep you balanced.
Yes. Keep me balanced and keep the women away, just like my fuzzy toes.
So
interesting.
Moving on.
we have an update.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Jess?
Oh, yes. So the craft controller is still being serviced. It's going to take a bit longer. They're getting into the thick of it, so they're opening up the controller and finagling wires and all. So they'll need a bit longer. So we can sample with the Magnum, and we can stow it on the porch. And then once the craft comes back online, we can put it into the starboard bins.
Sounds good.
So.
And we can always try that flying slurp maneuver again.
Yep.
I was going to say, can the Magnum reach the slurp?
No.
No, what we can do, if it was in a different spot, not maybe that could be conducive to a slurp. But the Magnum cannot reach that far away.
That is a gigantic Winchester star.
Yeah.
And a different species of chrysogorgid, finally.
You want to go ahead and push on in here partial, please? That's great. Go ahead and push on in a bit more.
It looks like it's got marine snow.
All of those zoanthids on it.
On our way.
Sorry.
It does have
Go ahead and come all the
globs
way.
of that marine
Yeah.
snow stuck to it.
Good eye.
That's good. Full wide, please. All right. Kylie, you want to come back to the heading of 070 now?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And I'll get out in front of you, and then I'll switch you, yeah?
072?
And a half.
It's 1.9. 1.9. He put in a move before that was 072, and I was like, well, that's oddly specific, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Longer moves, I am a little
Ooh,
more
what's
precise.
this? Oh, it's a
Sure.
tripod fish.
Yeah.
I've
Tripod
never
fish have
seen
the
them.
weirdest moves.
Go ahead and start your zoom there, please.
I always just see them tripoding. Why is he swimming like that?
Yeah, he swims like an alligator.
Really does. Ooh, get away from us.
Oh, he's
though
going to
now.
sample himself if he gets too close. Turn on the slope.
Maybe
on
a
the
tripod
slope.
on the porch.
Actually, yeah, I'm kind of a little parasite on him. Okay.
Full wide.
Yeah. A lot of thruster wash going on here now. Let's avoid that.
Here's a question in the chat. It seems sparse in this location, whereas you've mentioned larger aggregations in other locations. What determines the distribution of the sponges in particular locations?
Thank you.
Is it food access, current, topography? Yeah.
So those three things are actually related. It tends to be the current flow, but that is influenced by the local topography, and then that's what transports the food to the sponges. So each of the sponges or corals seem to have kind of an optimal current zone where they prefer to
We're doing
live.
a pilot
So
stop here.
we're not really in one of those zones right now, apparently. We've got lots of good habitat, but we're just not seeing that many individuals, and so it's probably a good sign that this is not an optimal current zone for them. As we get up onto the crest of this ridge, we're hoping that's going to change and we'll see a little more high density. You can see kind of how low the current is here by how much of this phytodetritus, so all this clumpy material on the seafloor, is all just sitting there without being blown around. So there's very, very little current here, almost none.
Yeah, you can kind of see the snow just perfectly still in the camera.
Well, this seat is very cold. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can see why you have on 3 jackets right now.
You want one of them?
No, it's okay. Thank you, though.
Are these rocks broken off here? They got the sort of the black coloration.
Yeah, or it's just not collecting sediment for some reason.
Okay.
Based on our last dive, most of those are probably cemented in there. But sometimes you can get bits of the crust flaking off for some reason. I don't know why it would happen, but you can see those proud Borchiotto coming up through the sediment.
Yeah, these are particularly pronounced.
Yeah. Get a zoom on
That red thing?
this guy, maybe?
Oh, Raj.
Unless there's a red. Oh, that's a shrimp.
That's a shrimp.
We can spare Chanel if we need to. I was just curious if this is a rock or this is some kind of critter.
Sure.
Looks like a
Yep, it's a rock.
rock. Yeah.
And a
Yep,
halothurian.
they get you. There's clearly a halothurian.
Or a very purple rock.
Is it
Yeah, it
transparency
could be.
joke?
You never know.
Or what?
He saw right through it.
So I have a model question. We've been using this high calm bottom current model. We're clearly not seeing any current here. Is this something that can be somehow translated to be fed into that model, or do you need more numerical data from something like an ADCP?
Numerical data I think would help more, but you can put in bottom temperature and salinity and stuff, and that goes into the model. That can potentially improve it. But the current in this area actually is moving kind of east to west, according to the model, and we're on the western side of this ridge. So it's a good spot because it's kind of a slump deposit, so there's a lot of these loose rocks. But I think as soon as we get on top of the ridge, we'll start getting hit by the current.
So we're probably just in the lee.
Yeah, we're like right behind the shadow of the current. Fingers crossed, though, we'll see.
Chanel, how's it going back there?
It's going well. I miss sample collection.
We do too. Probably Kevin does most.
Yep.
We can sample.
Yeah, if we go back, if we find another one of those really good angular fields, I'm keeping an eye out. I'll put one on the porch.
Yeah.
Just put it right on top of still cam. Like a little hat.
And we could keep one on the porch and one in Mongo's hands until we do a handoff with the craft. So we have the potential for maybe 2 samples.
Good.
Bridge nav, 75 meters, 072.
I got the zoomies for some reason, so I'm just really focusing hard on sitting down.
Oh, Raj, I thought you were going to say I got the zoomies, so I'm just focusing really hard on the marine snow. And I was like, I'm going to zoom on marine snow? Not sampling, but keep her happy, sure.
Sorry. I'm trying to think, wait, we'll get rid of that lens flare.
Tilting.
Tilting a little down.
No.
There's a shrimp doing the backstroke again.
It's gone.
Raj. Are you looking a little to the right?
Right.
I have no idea.
No.
No.
No. Lens flare for life.
You could just turn off all the lights.
That'll do it. I wonder if it's just one particular, or maybe porch on. Maybe
No.
porch off. I wonder if it's just one light that's just, no. Okay, that's life.
That's it, 'tis life.
That's life. Is that what they always say? It is.
What if you racked in just a tidge?
It's all, no, nothing's happening.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no change.
Alright, sorry, it's my
Tinkering.
a tinkering question, Raj.
Is that a halothurian? It sure looks like it's going to be one.
Here's a nice looking halothurian.
That's the same type we just sampled. And some boulders right behind it. That one seems to be feasting on phytodetritus.
Yeah, they are thing pretty big and thick in this area. You think it's because they got all that phytodetritus
I think so.
growing nice and
Although,
healthy?
who knows how frequent an event this is, because this looks all very fresh, so this is probably a recent bloom of something that's dropped out.
Hmm.
It's very angular,
Yeah, it's too big though.
like a broken piece of something.
Got some actual finer gravel here. It's localized for whatever reason. Well, I'll be at the base of a debris flow. So I got some of the finer stuff settling last. When you have debris flows in the deep ocean, you get what are called turbidity deposits, where the heaviest stuff settles on the bottom and then it gets finer, so it fines upwards. It's very distinct in the sediment column.
Is that the same thing as a turbidite?
Fast you
Yes.
can get back.
Yeah, turbidites basically cause that kind of deposit.
He's going to take a break. Yes. So I'm going to go check on the moon pool.
There's another one of those dark halothurians, and maybe a light one to the left.
That is a really dark halothurian.
Yeah.
It's pretty color.
So that is a benthodite, and it is Liz in chat, the one we sampled earlier today.
Is that maybe a dead sponge there, or just a piece of rock where it's oddly broken at the bottom?
We're going with sponge.
Yeah.
It looks hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are pretty nice looking rocks. Do we want to grab one? Or are we waiting on a ship move?
Yeah, so we have a ship move in, and we'll be swinging, and I'm imagining we're gonna, well, we can stop the ship, and then,
No, we can wait. I'm just, if it was opportunistic, if we were just waiting for a little while.
no, we have a constant move going right now,
Oh,
but
okay.
we can, after this move, kind of, it looks like this has been continuing for a while. We can let the vehicle swing and then take it with Mongo.
Excellent.
Nothing fast happens with that guy.
With Mongo?
The Magnum, yeah.
Oh, Magnum. Yeah, yeah.
Like one joint at a time.
There's one moment to shine as nav. So Chris, after this ship move, we're gonna hold here and then let the vehicle swing and take a Magnum sample with for a rock.
See, at least we know he's paying attention.
Here's a question in the chat. Are there specific organisms that you would expect to see in these low current zones?
Some of the detritivores we've been seeing, like the halothurians, you can also see a lot of the sea urchins in these kind of zones. So anything that's kind of going to be a deposit feeder can thrive in these zones. It's hard for anything that filter feeds to live in these areas just because they're not getting that much food. And then the sediment is going to be completely full of various types of infauna, worms and small tiny crustaceans, etc.
I'm surprised we don't see more of them on the crawling around on the rocks, at least coming out with like tentacles or anything, reaching up to get stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We did see briefly maybe it was a flamboyant squidworm or some sort of bristled polychaete earlier while it was just in the corner of the screen for a second or two.
On I think the very second dive weeks ago, while I was sitting in the lounge, because it was on a different watch while they were descending, I saw one of those swimming pelagic polychaetes.
Is that like the flamboyant squidworm, or was it, sort of a cousin with the kind of long, shiny bristles sticking out?
Let me look. No, this is different. This is one of the big pelagics that they're clear almost. I've mostly seen them on like nature documentaries where you get the black background and you have this worm that's segmented, longer segments in the front that narrow towards the back that swims.
Oh, cool.
Here's another question in the chat. Are there any automated solutions to count individuals of specific species, for example, sponges?
There are several in the works right now. So there is a program from Mbari that's working on that. And there's a piece of software I'm trying to, called Viami, that is trying to automate some of that with AUV imagery. So there are several in the works. They still need a lot of training, a lot of human input, but that is something that folks are working on. I found my pelagic worm. It's called Tomopterus.
That's cool looking.
Timopterus or Tomopterus?
Tomopterus, Tomopteris.
We see what you're doing there, Tim.
I'm just making sure it's not going to become a nickname.
I mean, it very well could now.
Nope,
is now.
nope, it's Tom. It's definitely Tom. Ooh, what's that floating in the water there? Yep,
What is it?
a little jelly maybe.
Good eye.
Oh, yeah. You want the porch on? Edge.
Oh, it's so little.
It's so cute.
It's so
Oh.
little.
Very cute. Nice line, Kylie.
Where are you going? She's at a barrel roll.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Whoa.
Whoop.
Thruster wash.
Oh, better thruster wash that way than the other way.
Yeah.
Here's another question in the chat. What are some of the scientific questions you are trying to answer on this dive?
As far as geology, it's getting the samples back and then determining how old is the seamount and what is its chemical makeup to try to determine its geodynamic origin.
From a bio perspective, we are profiling the deep sea coral and their associates communities on these seamounts, and then comparing the biogeographic distribution of the species from seamounts both further south and further north, all the way down to American Samoa and all the way up to Papahanaumokuakea.
My bad. You guys still want to rock around here once we settle out?
Maybe. We'll see. They're not as nice as before, but there's still some rocks, so yeah, I think so.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Just let me know when you're in a position.
A giant square slab. I'm sure
Yeah.
Mongo can pick it up.
All right. Mongo was strong, if I remember Blazing Saddles correctly.
I don't think I've ever taken a sample with Mongo. I've used it for holding onto things, pulling onto things, but never anything more useful besides handing off a sample from the craft.
I've watched it get used to stabilize the craft on a sheer wall so that the normal manipulator could take a sample off the vertical wall.
Yeah, as like as a reaction force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we did those hydrate samplers, like, it was just as useful as the craft. Like, it required holding, like, the hydrate sampler in place, and then the craft turning the I don't know, the crank, like to like drill into it.
Yeah.
So like, if not for both hands, it wouldn't have been doable.
Yeah. That's true.
50-50 credit. Like any of these? Or still swinging into it?
I think yeah, if you want to settle anywhere, then I'll just winch up as we get closer.
Okay.
Yeah, any of these kind of angular ones are good.
Okay. I'll just park up here.
Does Herc's right arm have a name? The
The
manipulators?
The craft?
Craft predator.
That's called the craft.
Yeah.
Ah, that's good enough.
And the left is called the magnum. It's just the manufacturers.
All right.
All right. You want to rack back?
Rack 'em back, rack 'em back. Sorry. It's, you know, this is who I am. Whatever. You put
It's Pete Seeger,
microphones
right?
on me,
Yeah.
I don't have a choice.
All right. This is why we don't use the Magnum that much. This is full speed.
We cannot do
We're sampling in
sample on
geologic
the fly.
time.
Oh my goodness.
Luckily the rocks don't run away.
Magnum. You can do it. I'm going to cheer it on.
I'm coming to get you.
So what rock do we? Okay, well let's parameterize this a little bit here, guys. This is gonna be, come on, Jaw. That is the largest we can fit, so that's full open.
Can you fit this guy in there? It's hard to tell from this distance. Probably not.
Probably at hazard, I guess, to maybe not.
Yeah.
But let's just
Looks dressed.
Spend a couple hours to figure it out.
It's doing its best.
Just heads up on the
Herc isn't left-handed.
Yeah.
And if you need me to move, you holla at your girl.
I'll probably just get it set up like this, then have you fly into a rock. That might be
Raj.
easier than me trying to position it. Okay.
Raj.
Yeah. So let's maybe fly up to the.
Whoop. Okay.
It looks kind of like those condor puppets they use to feed condor chicks.
It's just above it.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally does. Whoa.
Yeah.
Like one of these?
Yeah, anywhere around there works, I think. Yeah,
Sorry.
that works.
Sorry, I'm just moving around a little bit. I'm just gonna park.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Looks like there's little eggs over here.
This one I think will work.
Oh,
That one?
I think so.
You don't think there's a lot more of it under the sediment?
Maybe. It's very possible.
I'm happy if you grab whatever one you can grab.
What about the one to the left of it?
Sorry, 1 second. To the left of it?
Oh yeah, like under the wrist.
Sorry, 1 sec.
Yeah, no worries. You want a heading change?
I think they'll just mess me up more.
Well.
Yeah. I think this one would work, right? You want,
Try it.
you want a heading change into it there? Yeah. Nah, okay. Yeah, I see more bits on it there.
Yeah. I'm looking at Raj. Okay. Anything we get is the
Yeah,
option.
just
So let's go for a small one, yeah?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
grab something.
Nice.
Oops. Wow.
It moved.
Oh,
Okay. Pick it
Ooh.
up. Pick it up. Pick it up.
No, no, you're good. How about up? Would you mind flying a
Yeah.
little up?
Yeah, sure.
Can't believe it. All right. Nice.
I think the sexton's a little bit in a precarious spot.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe we got something.
Maybe. You want me to lift up, or you have the jaw closed, or?
I have the jaw pull closed. I'm
Oh.
going to elbow up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's shoulder up.
You want me to move?
Yeah. I think we might have got something. It's
Fishing
like
for
fishing.
rocks. Yeah.
No, just
No.
kidding. That was just the zinc.
It did go loose, though.
All right, I'm going to shoulder back down once the sediment cloud clears. Shouldering down.
You might be able to look at it with bubble and see if it's behind your hand.
Yeah. I think that one actually might be too big for the bulbous bit of it.
Raj. Let's do another one.
Sorry, Kevin, this is
Yeah, if we can't get one, it's okay. We can
Hard
wait.
mode. Something over here. Smaller. Maybe. How small is too small?
Yeah. Probably whatever the Magnum can grab.
Something there?
sure. Nice.
Oops. Sorry. My bad. That was a mistake.
All right, I'm gonna come over here for a second. Okay, I'm gonna go in for this one. Actually, it looks like, looking at bubble, it's pretty consolidated, that one.
Okay.
I think we just move on.
Raj, yeah, sorry guys.
That's all right. This is just the start of a 20-hour dive, so we got plenty of time.
Raj.
So here's a question in the chat. What's a geologic feature or organism the team would love to see or find on the dive?
Sea spider.
Yeah, I would like to see a cool crab. And then maybe some columnar basalts, but mostly crabs right now.
My vote is columnar basalt, chaunacops, and I would really like to see a really nice garden of hemicorallium.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'd like to see a shrimp.
I think you'll definitely get your wish granted there then.
I'm amending mine. I would like to see a sea spider on a columnar basalt.
Oh, yeah, you're going to say on a shrimp.
Yeah.
I
I'd like
did
to see a sea
too.
spider riding a shrimp.
That'd be amazing.
I mean, I have like realistic expectations.
Do you find any other species of shrimp in these deep seas, or is it always that red guy?
Oh, there's quite a few species. That's just one of the more common ones.
We saw that tiny white one.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think, well, it's hard to tell, right? But maybe it could have been a red one, but as a baby and didn't have color yet? Like, that can happen, right? Like, it doesn't develop color. Things sometimes don't develop color until they're bigger.
Yeah, it's possible. Could also, yeah, so that's the thing that could happen. It could be a recent molt or just another color morph of the same species.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a shout out from some Iowa folks in the chat earlier, so if that's Nancy, I just wanted to say hi and thanks for tuning in.
Hometown hero.
Is that how big Iowa is? That you can figure out that statistically speaking, it's probably Nancy?
Yep.
Oh.
On the plus side, we can see the Milky Way from
Yeah.
some places in Iowa, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I didn't see stars until I was 13.
Oh my gosh. What?
They had that
City
big East
slicker.
Coast blackout.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have just found the name of the shrimp that we've all been enjoying, and it has a fantastic name to go with its appearance. It is Cerataspis monstrous.
Aw.
Monstrous.
Big feet or what? Cerataspis.
Even the still shot is making Chanel laugh from the NOAA identification guide.
Monstrous. Big funny.
Here's a question in the chat. How important is the terrestrial life on Johnston Atoll to this particular habitat? The person tuning in has said that they've read about how healthy bird populations are connected to the marine environment.
Go ahead and zoom.
Yeah, in this environment, essentially there was almost no bird population until recently because Johnston Atoll was just a sandy spit that was built up by the U.S. military into an island. So there's really no connectivity right here, but in the shallower waters, when you have healthy fish populations, everything, you're going to have larger bird populations. So there is a connection, just not in this region.
Halosaur?
Yep, that's a halosaur.
Go a little tighter.
I have to bump it down.
I love how they move just the end of that tail. Everything else is perfectly still.
Okay, come on.
Nice.
I think that's something that, that question is something that Liz works on a little bit. She follows isotopes of various elements as they go through different organisms in the food chain and can actually
Quick zoom.
can trace some of that
Hold
back
it.
to.
Okay. Are you going for the shrimp?
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead and zoom.
Oh yeah, that's a different one.
Yeah, that's a different species.
Yeah, it kind of strokes sideways.
Not nearly as hilarious.
Watch this. Okay, come on. I'm sorry.
So what was was it a question, Tim, on the isotopic fractionation, or?
Oh no, I was just saying that it's they call it a spatial subsidy in ecology,
Yeah.
where a food source from one part of the ecosystem sort of gets transferred to another and feeds things far away.
Yeah.
Here's a question in the chat. How do you compensate for motion offsets in the ROV's multi-beam sensors since it's always moving as compared to those mounted on survey ships? Do you also conduct a patch test?
Can you say that one more time? We were having a conversation up here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, how do you compensate for motion offsets in the ROV's multi-beam sensors since it's always moving as compared to those mounted on survey ships? Do you also conduct a patch test?
So the way we compensate for, I guess it doesn't really matter that it's moving relative to the ship. The ROVs have their own navigation solution. So the multi-beam is mounted on the front of Hercules. We know its position relative to the reference, the motion reference point of the vehicle. We know how the vehicle is oriented through a gyroscope. We can measure how the vehicle is moving using our Doppler velocity log, or DVL. We can then measure the vehicle's absolute position relative to the ship, which is, maybe that answers your question, using the ultra-short baseline sonar, the USBL. So that'll give us a range and bearing to the ship, and then once we know that, we can use the ship's GPS location to find our location relative to the Earth. So, yeah, so there's quite a few, I guess there's quite a few steps. There's quite a few things you need to know to localize the multi-beam sonar relative to the Earth. And as far as patch tests, we do it as though you would, basically, as you would for any surface-mounted sonar. Like once we have the navigation solution, we'll go and we'll do a survey over a small like or over some sort of discrete target. So if there's like a big, ideally you'd find something like a rock over on a sediment bed or something, and you do surveys at different directions, or from heading at different directions and at different altitudes, and then you cross it at another, you do survey lines orthogonal to that. And then you can run it through some software to find the, basically find where the sonar must have been mounted relative to the vehicle, to fine tune your offsets of to fine tune the offset of the sonar relative to the Hercules's reference point, navigation reference point.
Here's a specific question for Kevin, the geologist. What has been your biggest surprise on this expedition and why?
Good question. I don't know if anything really has surprised me per se. There was one of the geos we were on earlier. We thought we were in a carbonate platform because it kind of had some thin layering, and then we had some kind of almost sedimentary rock-looking features. But every sample we grabbed from that were igneous. So, and some of them I think were cobbles that are rounded that will actually represent erosional deposits from when the geo was an island. And there was just like a depositional field we were kind of moving through. So maybe that. Otherwise, the volcanic ridge that we dove on at like 3,900 meters back when, that was kind of surprising that it was all basalt and it didn't look like sea floor that was uplifted. At least not what I expected it to look like. So that was kind of surprising as well. And that's going to be an interesting sample to date. See if it matches what we think the seafloor crust age is, or if it's much younger.
Bridge nav, 75 meters, 070.
Not too much going on in this seamount right now. We got some sediments, some pill basalts popping through, some loose debris basalts. Very little life so far, but we're making our way up to a volcanic ridge, and hopefully on the top of the ridge or on the other side of it, we will see more critters. Little to no current where we are right now.
Hey Chris, do you mind zooming out on the map there real quick?
It'll happen. There we go.
For steep as these lines are, I'm kind of surprised there's this much sediment.
Yeah, especially for this depth. It's not very shallow, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roger. So this is kind of the steepest bit. Oh, there's a steeper bit after we went to, but then everything else is going to be relatively flat, hey?
Yeah, we'll probably hang along the east side of the lip for like waypoint 4 and 5. But yeah, it's looking pretty flat. So we'll see.
Interesting. probably have a wall.
There's a classic New England rock wall
I was
separating two
just
farms.
thinking exactly that.
You have a Medusa right behind your tail. It's like following you.
Wow. It's just chilling.
This is nice and smooth, Kylie. Nice flying.
Thank you. Delivery? Oh, no,
Every
you
time
weren't
that door
expecting
opens, we all look back in anticipation that maybe it's a manipulator arm.
Amazon delivery is like, I said it'd be here by 4.
Hello.
They've already taken apart the Nintendo Switch to get the necessary pieces.
That was a sacrifice I didn't agree to.
I do a lot of things for science, but I won't do that.
Here's a question in the chat. What do you think are the cutest benthic critters you've run into?
Chanel.
I mean, I'd say shrimp.
I mean, I'm going chaunacops because it's a benthic fish, but shrimp are up there. There's some pretty charming shrimp.
100% behind chaunacops.
Ooh, yeti crabs are also really good.
Oh.
Say sea dandelions. Those are very,
Yeah.
they go all bloop, bloop, bloop with their dance. Very cute.
It's a
Ones
great
that, the
sound
question
effect.
was ones that we've run into so far? Or is it
Yeah,
just in
ones
general?
that we've seen, or
Ones that we've seen.
yeah.
I'd
I
take
don't-
a zoom on this anemone in a second.
I thought that cat shark was very cool.
There was that fish yesterday. Or was
Oh,
it
yeah.
yesterday? That was posing for us. It was cute
Go
as can
ahead
be.
and zoom.
That was pretty cute.
Oh, that halosaur that stared us right in the face.
Yeah, the big baby eyes. It's a very still anemone.
Oh, you can hold it there. I'll adjust.
Looks like it's feeding itself with one little tentacle.
Yep.
Licking his fingers, yes. Do you have any more zoom?
I do.
Get it quickly, and I'll get back out. Okay, come wide. I'm gonna
So would you say it's not really moving because of the low current flow?
Yeah, it's not waving in the
Thank you.
breeze. That one does look like it's probably got something stuck to that tentacle that it's eating and is getting ready to stuff it in its anemone mouth.
Yeah.
Sponge off on the left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice looking sponge.
You can start pushing in.
You want the porch on or off?
Yeah, try it on.
Cool eye structure.
Yeah, it's almost like a
Wide?
rattan, you know? The furniture that's made out of
Oh yeah, that is what it looks like.
woven pieces of grass, I guess.
Do we have cameras in the, I don't know what area this is. Oh, the
ROV
shop? The shop where they're working on the
No.
manipulator? No.
No, thankfully not. It's also where we look all, bleary-eyed in the morning when we need coffee. And
They only subject the scientists to that, not the ROV pilots.
The hangar, we are videoed in the hangar,
That's
so
true.
that's the equivalent, I think. The shop is sort of different.
It's our coffee-making paradise there.
Yeah. Our Zoho dream as our inventory.
I mean, you guys have the hanging beads on the door and the lights and the black light going on and the couch.
A big sign that says no scientist allowed.
There is a sign on the door that says ROV's life. And the pencil's still hanging from the door from the gym bet many moons ago.
It's true. We also have our Christmas tree hanging from the ceiling still, so
Upside down.
it's a magnet.
Beautiful. It is both a Christmas tree and its own ornament. Before you know it, it's going to be that time again.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Christmas tree was up until May, and I only took it down because I had to move out of that apartment.
So you were literally downsizing.
Yeah.
If I did that, it would be nothing but a bear stick and a pile of incredibly flammable needles.
Here's a question in the chat. I was wondering whether you know if the ROV is noisy to a point where it might make animals avoid it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really loud. It's loud for us on deck, so subsea it's probably much louder.
Very vibrational for sure, yeah.
Probably why we don't see a lot of things that can swim fast, you know what I mean? Like they'll probably just avoid the vehicle if possible.
Sure, yeah. It always makes me wonder if the things that we do see that are big, can swim fast are just they're just rebel without a cause. Shark comes up, he's like, what? This is my neighborhood and I'm not going anywhere.
Rebel without a cause.
Just doing their life. I'm not afraid of vibrations.
Or lights.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, man. I'm too cool for whatever you do. I'm just gonna come sniff.
Here's another question in the chat. What are the brownish clumps of material in the sediment? I think they're referring to the marine snow, right?
Yeah, so this looks like, Steve was calling it phytodetritus, and I agree. It looks like it's some kind of seaweed, probably a pelagic seaweed like a sargassum that has bloomed and then dropped out of the upper water column and is just collecting in mass around this area. When you zoom it, we zoomed in close on it when we first landed, and it looks like it's got little like float vesicles like you would find on some of those pelagic seaweeds. So I think it is phytodetritus that's all accumulating around here for some reason.
Iris down a little bit.
I'm actually a little surprised we don't have more cucumbers and urchins and things in it. I wonder if they just haven't found it yet, if this settling is fairly recent.
You think it settled on top of them like a nice little blanket?
Possibly. There's another little sea pen.
Go ahead and zoom.
Oh, is this a black coral? Let's see.
This is another little heteropathes black coral.
Yeah.
Okay, come wide.
It's the first coral we've seen in about an hour.
Yeah.
Lord.
There's a rock wall up to the upper left there.
Rock wall, let's get a climbing.
Let's climb. It's bouldering time.
Hey, Atalanta, you mind belaying me?
Belay on.
I was like, what does this belaying term refer to right now?
That's a belay from above. I hope you have your device set up correctly. A good anchor.
Let's start coming up a wee bit.
Roger.
Here's another question in the chat. How do you get into the field of ocean exploration?
Lots of different ways.
Yeah.
So I started with, I have a bachelor's degree in oceanography, and I have a PhD in marine biology, specializing in genetics. And so it's allowed me to work on a lot of different marine life. And most recently, I've been working in deep sea coral communities, and a lot of them are really, really poorly characterized. So it's kind of all new exploration working with them.
I had kind of a not traditional way of getting to ocean science. So I grew up in Iowa, and there's not that many resources there, and at the universities available there, I couldn't find any like oceanography classes or major. So what a lot of people did was they kind of thought of like what the sciences are that are useful in oceanography. So right now we're looking at a lot of biology and geology. So that's what I did. I majored in geology, and I know some people who majored in biology. And then you can seek out oceanography related internships throughout your undergraduate degree. And so if there's not resources to get involved where you are, you know, you can get involved in something oceanography adjacent. and then seek out other experiences to get out here. So I sought out STEM Seas, which is a, it's funded by the NSF, and they pay for you to go on transit cruises. So that was my introduction to oceanography, and I kind of was bit by the bug and applied to this program, and now I'm out here. But there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved, so just seek out those experiences outside of your school if they're not accessible to you where you're at.
Chanel's totally right, because this is a really interdisciplinary field. So if you have access to a broader science that can be applied to oceanography, which is or engineering, which is just about all of them, and then pivot into this when you have opportunity, that's totally legit.
Yeah, I started doing this as part of a teacher science communication fellowship. So that's what brought me out. So this will be, the one cruise I do this year, because the rest of the year I'm working as a high school teacher.
There's also a lot of things you can do at your home to get involved. So I started scuba diving, and even though I didn't get to go to the ocean, and I still haven't gotten to dive in the ocean, it's still a useful tool to have, and you can do that from anywhere, almost. And they also sell these nets on Amazon for I think $10 or something, and they catch phytoplankton. So I would literally take this net and go to lakes and look at phytoplankton water under a microscope. You can, I found one in my school's department, and that was kind of fun. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get involved in ocean science, and a lot of the skills will transfer over even if you don't have access to the oceans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you cannot, in landlocked areas, you can always work in lake and river systems, and a lot of the freshwater biology techniques and the ways we think about things like transport are applicable in those systems as well.
Yeah, you can totally get an RC ROV and take it out to a lake.
There's one little coal stalk to the left.
Wait.
On left and above.
Left and above.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there are
Or a sponge.
Go ahead and zoom.
For students, there are competitions, or remotely operated vehicle and robotics competitions, like the MATE, MATE competition.
Looks like potentially a sponge stalk covered in hydrozoans.
Yeah, that looks like a sponge stalk that's been heavily colonized there.
Okay, come wide.
Coming wide.
Have we seen that on previous dives or just this dive?
Oh, we've seen some of those on previous dives.
Little sheet flow front.
Oh, so that's the actual edge of the flow, it stopped there.
Yeah, that's my guess based on it. It's hard to see without the sediment.
Are you able to tell the way these rocks were formed by observing live lava flows, or?
Yeah, just lots of observations. Sometimes you can watch active lava flows or recent ones to get a better idea. If you go to places like Valulu, which is the active end of the Samoan hotspot, or Loihi, active end of the Hawaiian hotspot, you can get submarine volcanism that's very young, you know, weeks old, in some cases days old, depending on when you dive. And so you can see it fresh and how it's forming before it gets all encrusted over and kind of partly collapses. So it looks like there is a watch change about to occur. Thank you all for tuning in to the Sea Pickles. We will see you again at midnight Hawaiian time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where you are in the world. We are just coming up on the relief of the sea pickles. Now it is time for Delta Dan of the benthic storms to shine, coming at you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in chat at our website at nautiluslive.org. Then to start us off, are you guys in a submarine? No, we are not. We are currently piloting an ROV, which is a remote operated vehicle of which we send down to the bottom of the ocean and to go look at the pretty rocks and coral and other things you may see at depths that humans would not be capable of reaching. All right. Steve, you'll be willing to start us off with the basis of what the dive plan is, just for the viewers at home, get a reminder?
Oh, sorry, back row.
Yeah, let's get some underway instructions first.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't realize you were entirely
move into commentary.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm going to be actually flying through your watch for a wee bit. Some things for you guys to keep in mind right now as we are going along this beautiful subsea terrain. We do not have the craft currently available, so right now it's just primarily flying by eyeball. We tried sampling with the Magnum before with no success. We can do slurps only if we batter ram into the thing, and I just mean that in a very literal sense. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. We have not really too much sampling capabilities right now. Yeah, so, hi.
Hi, Jazz.
Everything else is great, though.
Everything else is good. And we still got Tim in here for...
Yeah, Dan's scanning some stuff with that So I'm gonna.
We can call him Matterscan Dan from now on.
I'm gonna hang out for a little while Dan finishes up.
Okay.
All right, so are we moving or are we stopped right now?
We're letting this last move that we just had in swing out for a second, and then we'll be going along kind of the same trajectory, it looks like.
Yeah, that sounds good. How fast are we moving? 0.2?
We've been doing 0.2. Yeah, we have, there's some kind of more boring topography, and then we get these large basaltic cliffs. So better to do 0.2 than 0.3.
All right, sounds good.
Great.
Keep going.
Halosaur.
Video, you want to push in a bit here?
Halosaur.
That's good there.
Not a halosaur.
No.
I feel lied to.
Porch lights? Yeah.
This is a very rare fish to see.
Ooh, what kind of fish is it?
Go ahead and push on it a bit more.
It looks like a flying quill.
It
It
really
looks
does.
like a, what's Steve looking at? A snipe eel.
Go ahead and zoom
Perhaps.
on the tail.
Okay. It's not a yes, no, no. I'll take it.
Go ahead and come a little wide. All right, pull away, please.
Wow, isn't that pretty?
Definitely kind of eel.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, 50 or 70, up to you.
Oh, what's that? Oh, never mind. It's a rock.
Yeah, sure. So this is Okay, to do some
Um,
gauge checks, Jess.
information
Please.
from that eel first.
Oh, great.
It's a netastomid in the genus Venefica.
Manitoid.
And Lynette, just to confirm, that was a
How is
cue
that
to
spelled?
not move, correct? Great.
Nettastomidae. Netastomidae. I don't know the common name for that one, though.
Cool. All right. Also, while we're getting settled, because we are a little out of whack at the moment, we do not have our normal members of Delta Danube benthic storms. We're going to do a quick little introductions. I'm Matthew Schaefer as the Science Communication Fellow. We're going to go to my right.
Okay, I'm Brandon. I am a scientist here, focusing on geology.
And I am Steve Oskovich. I'm the watch lead for the 4 to 8. I'm also the biology science lead for this cruise. And I study deep water corals.
How's it, everybody? My name's Kukui, and I'm the data logger for this watch.
We'll go back over to Tim, because I don't want to disturb Lynette.
My name's Tim. I'm sitting in the video engineering seat for the next little bit.
And my name is Gibson. I am in the Atalanta pilot seat.
And next to Gibson, my name is Jess. I'm flying Herc, usually on the 12 to 4, but happy to be here with you guys.
And I'm Lynette. I'm the navigator.
And that's everybody. Yay! Woo! So, yeah.
So far, what do we got for samples? I know we have a couple from earlier in the dive.
Yeah, so far we have a very floaty sea cucumber, and we have 2 rocks.
Something. Coral.
Yep, bathypathes, black coral.
We are just about to reach our first waypoint for the dive. Up this unnamed seamount, north of where we were yesterday, Johnston Atoll. This site was previously mapped, but had never been explored. So we are the first eyes on the seafloor to see and sample this location.
That's a cool feeling.
We need some, like, you know, like the music they play when they, when the man was, Neil Armstrong, that's his name, was stepping on the moon. You know, like, da 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 da. That's the Paramount opening. Ah, okay.
Jurassic Park.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, this is Cretaceous probably, but anyway, it's close enough.
Good one.
But
Hercules gauges look good, and Atlanta looks good.
Great.
So you are listening up there to what we say that back here.
Always.
Gonna answer some real quick questions in chat. Just found this. Have you guys seen any UFOs or any alien bases? No. No, we have not, unfortunately.
We'll let you know.
Or we won't, depending.
The screens might go very dark if we do come across anything like that.
And then, do you ever run into anything man-made and unexpected on these dives? Sometimes we can see some like trash, stuff like that. We found a pail, a car tire, a flip-flop, things like that.
Potentially a block of guano too, which is
that's
interesting.
true, yeah.
We didn't
Really?
sample it, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really soft, like brownish rock that looked way out of place.
Interesting.
Did we ever try to identify it, or did we poke it, or?
So they sampled guano on a different expedition. Well, what they thought was guano, because they saw, you know, the erratic. That's what we call it, something that looks out of place, a rock. And yeah, with the manipulator, we were grabbing it, and you can see big dents being put into it, and that does not happen to real rocks. So. Oh, water response.
Hey, cameraman Dan's here.
Speaking of rocks, so far we've been seeing some pillow basalts as well as lobate flow. We're looking at probably some lobate flow right now.
Another pathies.
Oh, you
And
can
ash.
see where the crust came off on that lobe, right where that coral was, and then recrusted. And I mean, this isn't for the viewers per se, but you can see on the bathymetry all the sort of hills that look like on the bathymetry on the dive plan. That's a good indicator of pillow basalt flow, because pillows don't spread out like sheet flows would. They build their little highs, their topographic highs.
A lot of the seamounts up on the northern edge of the monument are definitely lumpy.
Lumpy.
Is that an unbelievable right there?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Looks like our video is doing a handover, so we'll have to belay some zooms for a minute. Our scale worm.
So Steve, someone in chat wants to know, aside from never being visually observed but previously mapped, how are these locations chosen?
So we, first we, most importantly, pick a site where the weather is good that we can dive. That is surprisingly what some of the top
Hello.
top information we'd like to consider.
Go ahead and start your zoom.
Big fish there.
What have we here?
Look at that big and
Big
Hello,
boy.
little, like, friend.
Is there a way to get a side view on that
Sure.
fish?
he's thick.
Okay.
Maybe 30 centimeters in
Yeah,
length.
it's a big one.
Wow.
Roger. Go ahead and push on in more.
Sure.
I see, Roger.
course, it knows what you're doing and it does the
Right.
opposite.
Yeah.
Of course.
Camera shy. Wow.
You can turn on the porch there, Gibson.
Yeah, right, sure.
Sorry, full wide, please.
Halothurian.
Thank you.
Full wide.
No, it's
Sounds like two-center.
between two genera here. I didn't quite get to see what I needed to see. But it's an ophidiiform, at least that. We can go get that too. So that would rule out eels. Nope, I think it might be Basogaigus. Let's see. Yep, Basogaigus. An ophidiid, cuskeel.
Oh, yeah. Are they usually that big?
That one was pretty big. It was on the larger end. Well, they typically are, but
I think
yeah,
you got
they
a
can
height
get that
mic in
big.
the room, hey?
Bamboo coral?
There, yeah, that's better.
Bamboo coral, bathybathy in view now. Shrimp.
You want to look at the bathybathy since we've seen a lot of bamboo?
Yep. I don't think we might have seen this already, but still, should take a quick look.
Go ahead and push on in there. Great, thank you.
Looks like symmetrical branching.
Go ahead and come wide.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start coming up. Thank you.
Glass sponge.
Yeah, that one is I think that was the euplectellid. Let's see.
That one got you.
These flows are fascinating.
They're so bizarre looking. What causes a lobate flow? Is it temperature, Brandon? Like a different temperature causes a different kind of flow, or?
It's viscosity, which is a factor of temperature, as
Okay.
well as flow rate. Yeah.
Which could come from like the pressure of the flowing source.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're intertwined, viscosity and flow rate. But yeah, so lobate flow is sort of a middling flow rate. There's a slower, which produces pillows, and then the faster produces sheet flows.
Gotcha. Cool.
Can you have multiple flow rates? I mean, like multiple flows in one area?
You can have them in the same area. Yeah, you can. We see it. We've seen it a good amount on this expedition. And
do they ever intermerge with each other? Like if I have, for example, I have a sheet flow, and then I have another lava spurt that's a pillow flow on top of it? Is that possible?
Yeah. Yep.
Go ahead and do a snap zoom here, please.
Sometimes you can have like sort of parasitic lava flows where an old lava tube can get taken over by a new
That
flow.
one is stauropathes, actually. It's got branching coming off of each of the branches.
Full wide, please.
Oh, I see.
Oh, Gibson, one thing on the handover is that the tilt on Atalanta is very sticky. So
Okay.
we've been kind of holding it in one position.
Gotcha, I noticed it was powered off.
Yeah.
It's working okay for now, just to change the depth of Atalanta.
So question for front row. After we get to waypoint 2, is there a way we could go kind of straight upslope due east, slight deviation from waypoint 3?
Sure.
Okay.
There is a way. Yes.
There's a Lynette, there's a way, right? Expression goes.
Did you say there was a Lynette or a limit?
A Lynette.
Lynette.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a
There is
map,
no
there's a
limits
way.
with the net.
No limit with the net.
Have you found any fossils in your dives? Yes, actually, we found a part of a beaked whale skull, fossilized beaked whale skull, just the other day, actually. It's actually sitting in our wet lab. Then answer the question, what is the rarest encounter you guys had the pleasure to witness? Probably that eel just a moment ago. Right?
What is the what?
The eel just a moment ago, one of the most rare experiences we got to.
Oh, yeah, the duckbill eel, yeah. It's unusual. It's not very common, not very rare, but it's yeah, definitely a less common observation.
Why is it so unusual? It just is.
I don't know. It's a $1 million question.
I think
People spend whole PhDs trying to answer that question.
Hope some viewer out there now suddenly decides to dedicate their life to find out why.
It's interesting, broken angular feature there, channel.
yeah.
You want to do a partial zoom on just this geological feature here,
Yeah, you
please?
bet.
Let's get there.
There we go.
Thank you.
Could potentially be a sill.
A cell?
A sill?
Sill?
Yeah.
What's a sill?
It's a
Right, hold on,
parallel structure that sort of an intrusive
please. Thank you.
magma that's parallel with the rest of the body, but it could just be fractures as well, especially because it ends so quickly.
And this kind of flow, is this a sheet flow, a lobate flow?
Probably still lobate flow.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with these long sort of...
Yeah, you can still see the lobiness. A good amount.
There's another one of those fish things. On the
Oh,
right
yeah,
side.
there's
wow.
another one.
It's actually
Oh,
a
look
different
at him.
type of fish.
Oh, okay.
It is another
This
fish,
one might
Gibson.
be
You still get points.
Basalt,
Zetus?
but we'll take a closer look.
You can zoom in.
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
Well, I guess
Oh.
bye.
I got a picture of it, Steve, but
Yeah, good.
the noise of the, yeah.
this thing is hideous, I dare say.
Gosh.
You didn't even try to
Wow.
soften the blow.
Wow.
And what did you call it, Steve?
Call it the Voldemort fish.
No.
You should
Stop.
not be named.
He's a very unique character.
Exactly.
The fish. No.
Zeta fish?
Let's take a look. Let me get back to you.
Okay, great.
Acanthonus.
Prefer just I keep this box at
Acanthonus?
060 here.
Acanthonus.